Ramat Solomon said a word that you see he's sitting with a Talmud and the leaf falls off the tree. You should have a full shalem with Ramat Yisrael, yeah. So a leaf falls off the tree, and he says to the Talmud, "What do you think this leaf is thinking?" It's like, okay, we're trying to figure out what cows are thinking. I figure it has to do with our sugi. He says, "What do you think this leaf is thinking?" So he said, the Talmud said, "I don't know." He says, "The leaf is thinking, wow, I'm free. I got off the tree. I can fly around wherever I want, etc., etc. Life is kishmak. I'm totally free." And then he doesn't realize that he's cut off from his source of sustenance, and he's going to be dead in 2 days, right? So he was saying that's the leaf. You think you're free, you cut yourself off from your chevra, from Torah, and all that, and you're going to actually mess yourself up. Even though in the short term it seems like you're okay. So the guy said it over, but talk about thinking about leaves, so thinking about cows. So okay, I hope we yaitz Musa with that. Okay. So we're up to the Mishna, right? Yud Aleph Amud Aleph. For those drinkers amongst us, this Gemara is for you, right? So Zok the Mishnah, Mazgul lo yas kais. They poured him a kais.
I think it's important just to point out Paris' consistency. It may be freezing and windy, but he's still outside in the future Erev Shabbos.
I gotta say one thing, man. It is cold.
Listen, Baruch Hashem.
Thank you very much for that weather update, parents.
Right.
Listen, if Peretz is saying it's cold, it's cold.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
It's Taka weather update. Right?
When Perry says it's cold, it's Taka time to take out the coat.
If I tell you it's cold, it's not a big deal. Yeah.
Right.
I was going to make a comment about Aaron's very nice vest over there. That's when I realized it was cold.
Thank you. Yeah, and I have the Langagachkas also.
He's ready to take on
Baruch
the weather.
Hashem. I was really wondering what you were wearing under your pants. Tiskul mitzvahs.
Okay, I'm sorry for you if that's what you're wondering about. Soraya, that might not be as smart as a leaf. That's a bad thing.
Maybe we should be sticking to. Maybe we should stick to
Touche.
cows.
Let's stick to the daf. Yeah. Oh, cows. No, I'm out.
Cows. Let's try to
I eat them. That's it.
A cow being a Nazir.
All right. Love him again.
Okay. On that note,
Hold on, Leviron, maybe is Rachman on Siakov? We're trying to find Tati's Levia. Anybody have a recording of that?
I don't know. Nachi called you?
Yeah.
I sent him a picture of that has been typed up. But, I don't know who would. Aaron probably has.
I figured maybe somebody, people that are on.
Okay, so let's see. So I can't even tell you how many questions I'm getting today about wearing gloves outside. All the people that never don't have Erev in this. Somebody just asked about putting a cotton balls inside the ears to protect the ears.
Do they've ever experienced?
What? With this cold?
First they've ever experienced?
I don't know. It's with the wind, I guess.
I mean, we've
cold, but this is nothing earth-shattering.
Yeah. Okay, but anyways. So let's see. So the Mishnah says, so a guy, this actually happens. This as opposed to yesterday's stuff, this one actually happens, right? Especially when we're already teich. Are we teich shleishim? No, we're just missing it for of Purim. Well, from Yud Aleph, we're within Yud Aleph. Okay, 30 days from Yud Aleph. So Mazgulay is a kais, right? So they poured a guy a kais. He says, I'm a Nazir. Meaning he didn't want to drink. He just didn't want to drink the wine. So they're trying to get him to drink. He says, I can't drink, I'm a Nazir. So now this question is he a Nazir? Right? So that the Mishnah says, he's a Nazir, he's a Nazir. There was a story with a woman, that she was drunk, and they poured her a cup of wine. And she said, she said, I'm a Nazir from drinking wine. Right now, why they have to find the story with a lady that's drunk, I don't know. Because a lady drinking amongst, she's not really, a woman is not allowed to drink with other men unless her husband is there. Right? But okay, but that's the story. Right? So she said, I can't drink another. She's Hareni Nazir Mimena. Amr Chacham, the Chacham said, her karbana was only to say, Harehu like a carbon, it's on me like a carbon, and meaning she just meant to assur that cup of wine. She did not mean to make herself a Nazira, which is obviously opposite of the psak that the Gemara, that the Mishnah just said. Right? So Gemara said, right? So that's pashut. So again, the Mishnah just brings a stira. First it says, the guy says he's a Nazir from drinking a cup of wine, he's a Nazir. And then it brings a story where he's not a Nazir. So Gemara asks, Maisa Listo, you just brought a story that was a stira. Amr, Reisha, Reza Nazir. The Reisha, it said she's a Nazir. He's a Nazir. Meaning only this cup she's assur, right? But other wine she's not assur. She did not make Nazira. So it's a stira. So Gemara says there's something missing from the Mishnah. This is what you have to say. If you poured him a cup, and he said, I'm a Nazir from it, Nazir. But v'im shikarhu, Nazir. Right? So it's a big difference. Right? If the guy is not drunk and he says, I cannot drink another cup of wine, so then we say because I'm a Nazir, then he's a Nazir. Right? But if he's drunk and he says he can't have another one, then he cannot. Then he's not a Nazir. My timer, Commander Omar, like carbon who, right? Because he goes with the sheet that it says it's like it's a carbon. So why didn't he just say it? Let him just say, I'm making a neder that I can't drink this cup of wine. Why did he go so extreme to say he's a Nazir? So Savar, so he thought, what's going to happen is they're going to bring me another cup of wine and they're going to cause me tzar. Right? So the Rush, a very interesting Rush, it's mamish true. Right? He says that's the derech. The Rush says that it's the derech of people who are shikr for other people to, what's the lashon? How do you say it? To egg him on, to push him. Right? You see a guy drunk. He drink another. They're force feeding him so that I don't know why people do it, but the Rush says people do it, which is what the Gemara is saying. Right?
Rates him on.
Yeah, they want to, So Mamela, so he says, if I'm going to tell them that I made this cup into a neder, so they're just going to bring me a different cup and give it to me. Like this, if I say I'm a Nazir, so then that's fine. So Eimelahu Hamilsu the Psikalu, right? So therefore I'm gonna tell them this like a psak, meaning I'm a Nazir. Don't even bother offering me wine. My Sanami Bisha Achas. And then there was a story with an Isha Achas, right? So that they did this and they said she's not a Nazir. So basically what we see from this is that if you can tell in the guy's das that he's not, doesn't mean to be a Nazir, then you're not a Nazir, right? Which is a whole thing, because what do? We already said a few times in the beginning of the Masechta that what do you call it? And the machshava is not what's in your brain doesn't count. If we go bust what you say out of your mouth, and he said he's a Nazir, right? Okay, I had a guy last night who says that he got into a disagreement with his wife. They're supposed to travel somewhere, and he said to her, "I swear I'm not going with you." And now he has charata. So
I think it's Jacob. I didn't even know that's an option. I can.
Well, maybe you ought to try it, right? But
it's not a valid shvua because you know it's not going to hold.
That's what I'm saying. From this
Gemara,
Gemara,
it says anyway.
I think we should try it at the next Hanukkah party and see what happens.
How about shopping trip? But l'chayra, he didn't mean it. Meaning, when I believe that when someone nowadays says, "I swear,"
he just realizes that he has to go. He did mean it.
Yeah, no, I'm saying I think that nowadays when somebody says I swear, that he doesn't mean he's swearing. It's slang.
No one has
It's-
in mind that that's a real thing.
Right. L'chayra. It's still not great to do that. Don't worry. I told the guy. I said I see you still having your anger management issues, but yeah, but I'm not one to preach. But anyways, okay. So but you see from this that when somebody is only doing it to prevent pressure from others, then we say that they're not a nazir. But what's interesting is, why don't you say, so let's say everybody leaves the house and now the person wants to drink that cup of wine. Why can't we extend it to that actual cup of wine also? That much we don't do, right? Meaning everybody's saying that the cup of wine that she said she's not drinking because she's a nazir, that one she vadai cannot drink. The shaila is on other wine, right? Whether they're a legitimate nazir, right? So why don't we just extend it and say she was just pushing him off from that wine too? So why can't once everything calms down, why can't she drink that wine too? She never meant it. That the Gemara seems like is not saying that, right? So I'm not sure exactly how that lumdus works. Fine. Okay. So Zok the Mishna. Yeah. Hareni Nazir. So now a guy says, now this guy's a real winner of a guy, right? He says he wants the best of both worlds. He wants the cake to eat it too, or actually he wants his wine and he wants to drink it too. He wants his nazirus and he wants to drink it too. Because what does he do? He says, Hareni Nazir. He says, I'm a Nazir, but I want to be.
Well, not so frum about it.
What?
It's not so frum about it. He still wants, he wants to be having the shame, but he doesn't want to do all the business.
Correct, exactly. He wants to be a nazir, but he wants to drink wine. Or he wants to be metamal mason, which I'm not so sure whether you have to teach that or and. Why can't he want everything?
But some of the mason, that might be his job because he's needed there. He's needed to be becoming a mason. He's like a mason. So what is he going to do? Lose his job because he became a mother?
Right. So yeah. Okay. But whatever. Yeah. Well, that's the problem. His job. Okay. We'll see that in the Gemara. So his well, maybe. But his job is he doesn't want to give up his job. He's in the Chevra Kadisha, right? And he wants to become a nazir, but he doesn't want to lose his job. Anyways, Hareza Nazir, he's still a nazir for assur b'kulan, and he's still assur and everything. Right? That's case number one. Let's say he says, I know he's a nazir, but he says, I know hilchas nazirus. Nobody told me I can't drink wine. Right? So
ignorance is not a very good excuse.
What does that mean that he knows what a nazir is? He knows there's nazirus, but he has no idea what nazirus is.
He didn't know.
He doesn't know what nazirus is.
By wine.
So he doesn't know what nazirus is. He knows how to spell the word.
Maybe he knew he can't take a haircut, and he knew he can't become tamei, but he didn't know about the wine part. Maybe he's a brother with the guy who thought he's making himself a nazir from figs.
So he doesn't really know what nazirus is.
I guess not, but he made himself into a nazir. Right?
We're not talking about a Tana who decided he doesn't know what about a nazir. We're talking about somebody, a stam person. He saw something about nazirus. He didn't understand it.
Then he doesn't really know what nazirus is if he doesn't know what it means.
So that's the question. So let's say a guy says, I'm a nazir.
He knows a nazir is Pirish. He doesn't know what he's Pirish. He knows he's Pirish.
Well, I'm saying, let's say he heard his friend say, hey, I'm going to be a nazir. That's a good idea. You're going to be a nazir. I'm going to be a nazir too. Right?
He deserves it.
That's the next case, really. So then he says, hey,
he couldn't imagine that his friends who was a nazir, he couldn't imagine these guys stopped drinking wine. He was like, what? Those guys don't drink wine. They've been drunk for 17 years. What do you mean they don't drink wine?
Yeah, so I listen. The bottom line is that's what it's saying. Don't open your mouth if you don't know what you say, if you don't know what you're doing. But he's responsible for it. So, anyways, he's assur. But Rav Shimon matir, but Rav Shimon says it's mutter, right? And he's not a nazir bichlal, meaning it's not only that he's not a nazir. There you go, Rachamim. That's our mussar for the day. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Fine.
Once again,
Okay.
it's Peretz's fault to ask if Nachman was on. Thank you, Peretz.
Yeah.
It was funny because it came up.
Dr.
Yeah,
Sam,
so
nobody
anyways.
wants to private conversations. You got to mute yourself.
Okay. So, anyways, Reb Shimon says it's mutter. Now, from Shimon, if you just read the Reb Shimon says it's mutter, it sounds like it's mutter, meaning he's still a nazir, but he's allowed to drink wine. No, what it means is that he's not a nazir. He do everything, right? Like we said before, which we're going to see. We said before that way back on Daf Gimel, we said the Reb Shimon holds that in order to be a nazir, you have to say everything. I'm going to be a nazir from wine and mace and the haircuts, etc., etc. Right? So he didn't do that. Next case, Yadei Hanisha Nazir also behind. Then this guy, he's quasi-educated. I know that I'm a nazir from wine. He thought he had pull. This guy thought, I know that you can't have wine, but I thought for me, they said it's okay. Right? Because I can't live without wine. I can't live only with wine. Or because, like we said before, or he's a grave digger. So mutter. In that case, the Tanakama says mutter, but Reb Shimon says also. So now, and this comes up to, we're going to get to Peretz's favorite teretz of Gemara, right? But again, Reb Shimon and the Tanakama switch their opinions. In the middle, in the first opinion, not the first case in the Mishnah, the second case in the Mishnah, the guy said, I made myself a nazir. I didn't know I'm supposed to drink, that I'm not supposed to drink wine. So Reb Shimon said he's not a nazir. Tanakama said he is a nazir. In this case, it's the opposite. The guy said, I knew about the wine, but I thought I had a heter. And there we said, no go. Reb Shimon said, no go. And the Tanakama said, yes. So they switched their sheetness. Okay, fine. Now, again, going before we start the Gemara, the first case in the Mishnah was, the guy said he's a nazir on a condition that he can drink wine and he would come tamei mace. So, and there Reb Shimon doesn't say anything. So the Gemara asks, Reb Shimon b'reisha. Why doesn't Reb Shimon also disagree in the reisha and say that he shouldn't be a nazir, right? Why is he not a nazir? I'm saying, why is he a nazir according to Reb Shimon? He shouldn't be. He said he's excluding things. So Reb Shimon Levi, Chalok, Reb Shimon Aper reisha. No, he does mean to right? So so the Hitaka did disagree. That's the first sheet. Ravina Amar no, but Reisha like Reb Shimon. In the Reisha, Reb Shimon doesn't disagree. Why? My time. Because he made a tanai on something that's written in the Torah. We know that you're not allowed to make a tanai on something that's written in the Torah. You can't say, I'm going to do this if and then it's an avera. Right, so we know because kol masna masha because of Torah tonight bottle, so tonight is bottle. So this guy, what happened? He said, "I'm a nazir." Then he said, "On condition that I can drink wine." No, you're too late. You can't. On the condition you drink wine, you're out. Right? You said you're a nazir. That's it. You're a nazir. Now you added a few words. That doesn't work because that's against what it says in the Torah. So therefore, it doesn't work. Right? Fine. Rabbi Shua ben Levi, how come Rabbi Shua ben Levi doesn't agree with Ravina? Amarlach, hi almanas, he says almanas kechutz dami. When he said on condition, he wasn't saying I'm a nazir, and then I'm making a condition in my nazirus that's against the Torah, because that doesn't work. What this almanas means is that he said I'm a nazir except for the issur of drinking wine and becoming tamei. To which we tell him that that Reb Shimon holds that he's still a full-fledged nazir because it's kechutz. We just said it's like chutz, and therefore we say we don't listen to him, right? Fine. So that's what Reb Shimon would agree. According to Rish Lakish, he would disagree with in the ratio. He would say, I'm sorry, I just explained it wrong. According to Reb Shimon Levi, Reb Shimon Taka disagrees, and he says the guy said he's a nazir except for drinking wine. And therefore, according to Reb Shimon, he's not a nazir. We said, according to Reb Shimon, you have to say all the lashonos of Nazir. If you leave it out, then you're not a Nazir. So according to Reb Shimon Levi, Reb Shimon disagrees in the first case too and says he's not a Nazir. And according to Ravina, Reb Shimon agrees that he is a Nazir because it was a masna mashakasa b'Torah. And first he said he is a Nazir. That's it. Once he made a Tanai, that Tanai doesn't work. Fine. Tani Kavasei de Ravina. Amar Hareini. If a guy says Hareini Nazir, right? I just lost the place. Yeah. Amar Hareini Nazir al Menashe Shaisa Yain Matamalam. He says, I'm making myself a Nazir on condition that I could drink wine and become tamei meis. I raise a Nazir. He's a Nazir for assur bekulan, and he's assur in everything. Meishu masna mashakasa b'Torah. So therefore, he is a full-fledged Nazir. Fine. Then the next case, the second case in the Mishnah is the guy says, I know that I'm a Nazir, but I didn't know I'm not allowed to drink wine. So can I drink wine? So we said that the Tanna Kama holds that he is a Nazir. And Reb Shimon says he's not a Nazir. And then we had the second case, which was the guy says, I know about Nazirus, and I know I'm not allowed to drink wine, but I thought I had a special dispensation because I'm just addicted to wine, right? So there we said Reb Shimon holds that he can't, he's a Nazir, and the Tanna Kama holds he's not a Nazir. So what's the pshat? So when it says V'amar Reisha assur Reb Shimon matir, the Reisha says assur and Reb Shimon says mutter. So the Gemara answers, Eimanami hareza assur Reb Shimon matir. Teretz's favorite teretz. Taka, switch it. You have a kasha, switch it. Right, the first right. It seems to be a stira. So we're gonna go back and it doesn't say lahefach teretz. It just says switch the opinions. Okay. Fine. Viba is saying, well, we can say la'ilam light paper. Don't switch it. See the next Viba is saying it says paper. That's to make parrots happy. Yeah. Hasam, Anton Bepeis now. Reisha could go into Nazar Mechada. The Reisha is talking about he just made a Nazirus from one thing, right? Meaning he said that he's not making he's being a Nazir from wine, let's say. The Rabbanan Damri Dafilu Lanazir Elame Achas Mei, and according to the Rabbanan, who say that even if a person just makes himself a Nazir from one of the restrictions, Havi Nazir V'Asr, so he's a Nazir and he's Asr. Reb Shimon, the Amar, Adshi Yasir Mikulam, Reb Shimon holds that in order to become a Nazir, you have to make a Nazir from everything, from hair, becoming tamei. So then mutter, so he's mutter. That's the ratio. That fits in. Seifa, the chiddush that we have to do here is Seifa, the Nada Mikulu V'ichul Mechada. It's the opposite. The Seifa is where he made a neder. He initially made a neder from everything. The Itchul Mechada, and then he asked the Chachamim, "Can you dial it back?" Right? Like he says, I made myself into an. I made myself into a Nazir, and now I want to take back the wine part. So say, but the Nazir Mikulu, the Itchul Mechada, and he asked back for one. The Rabbanan Da'amri Afilullah Nazir Elame Achas Mehen Havi Nazir, according to the Rabbanan, who say that even if he didn't make himself a Nazir only from one thing, so Ki Mitchul Mechadim Nayu Ishtari, then he's going to be mutter. The Reb Shimon, the Amar Achiyazim Mikulam, but according to Reb Shimon, who says he's not a Nazir until he becomes a Nazir from everything, Ki Mitchul Nami Me'ahu, once he asks about one thing, Ante Mitchul Mikulu, until he asks back from all of them, then he's still a Nazir. That's why it says Reb Shimon Oiser. So it's a very interesting thing. I know I'm reading it fast. I mean, it's Friday, unfortunately. But basically...
When is Lech Bench?
Like 10, 12 minutes? 12 minutes?
57.
457.
50, fine. Thank you.
Yeah.
57. Thank
457.
Yeah. So, but basically what we had like this, because again, Reb Shimon said you have to say all the Lashonos in order to become a Nazir. You have to say, I'm not having wine, I'm not taking haircuts, I'm not becoming tamei meis. If you're missing any of them, you're not a Nazir. Chachamim said, no, as long as you say one is okay. Here what happened, here we're turning the tables. Here what happened is that he made himself a Nazir, and he said, I don't want to keep the wine part. I don't want to keep the wine part. So according to the Chachamim who hold, all you have to say is one of them to become a Nazir. So then when you ask back for one of them, that will also eliminate the whole Nazirus. But according to Reb Shimon, who holds that you need to say all three Isurim in order to become a Nazir, so when you ask it back, you're only going to get back that you don't drink wine. The rest of it, you're still going to be a nazir, because meaning it's all or nothing. According to Reb Shimon, it's always all or nothing. So therefore, since you only asked for a heter from the naziris for wine, you didn't ask for anything else. So mamela, you're still a nazir. Not like that. This is really a chazor from the Darim. This is our favorite heter from Einstein, because our kasha with this is that every neder fits into any one of these four. Remember we said in the beginning of the Darim that there's something called nidrei einstein. We looked at the Shmuel v'Rav Asi, and it's talking about the Machlokes Shmuel and Rav Asi. What does this mean? The Tanan arba nedarim v'tiru chachamim. There are 4 nedarim that Chachamim said you don't have to keep. It could be nidrei ziruzin, a neder of ziruzin, which is if 2 guys are negotiating with each other, right? And you just want the other guy to pay more. So you say, I swear to you, I make a shvua, I am not selling this to you for less than $5. Right? When you really know you're going to sell it for $4, you're just using it as a negotiation tactic. Right? So there we said that's not called a neder. Nidrei havoi, that's an exaggeration. So we know you're saying you're saying an exaggeration. Right? Which by the way, the Rush, if you look at the Rush, what's nidrei havoi? The example he uses is that I saw it. There were so many people in the street, like as many people that left Mitzrayim, just agav to fit it into Inyana Diyom. Right? Thousands. But we know that it's an exaggeration, right? Nidrei shkagus, if he did it by mistake, right? Meaning this is the one. He says, I'm going to give $1 to you if I ate steak yesterday, and then the guy finds out he ate steak, so we say, oh, that's a mistake, because he thought Itaka didn't eat steak. Okay, so I don't understand. That knocks out every gambling in the world. But okay, whatever it is, that's the third one. And Nidrei Einstein is that he was forced into it. Whatever it is, these are the 4 nidarim. So what does it have to do with us? Rav Asi holds that even though these nidarim are going to be mutter, you still have to go to the rabbi and to ask him to be matir, right? But when they said over, what Rav Asi said to Shmuel, Amar Li said to me, Tana Katani Hatiru Chachamim. The Chachamim mated it. You say you need to go ask Shela, right? Well, it doesn't have. You don't have to go ask him. They said that these nadarim are automatically nullified. Either way, so Rabbanon Savri Kashmuel. The Rabbanon here go like Shmuel and say that he's not a nazir because the guy made a mistake, right? The guy just made a mistake. He thought that he's allowed to drink wine, but he wasn't. Rav Shimon, Rav Asi. Rav Shimon holds like Rav Asi, and he says the guy Taka won't be a nazir, but he has to go be matir, right? He still has to go ask for mechila from the nazir. Yeah, not from the nazir, from the chachamim. 448. Okay, let's do a little bit more. So Areni Nazir. So then the next Mishna says Areni Nazir, or Alayla Galeach Nazir. He says this guy's a real generous guy. He says I'm a Nazir and I'm going to sponsor another Nazir's haircut. Meaning, I don't think it's too much money to give him a haircut. Well, I guess it depends where. But it means he's going to sponsor the haircut and the karbanos that come along with it. V'shama chaveiroi va'amar, and then his friend heard him do this. His friend said, "Oh, he's doing it. I'm going to do the same thing." Va'amar va'ani. He says va'ani. This is important. The lashon here. Va'ani and I va'alai legaleach nazir, and it's on me to also give a haircut to a nazir. Sima, you pick him. So if these 2 guys are smart, so now you got 2 guys. Each one said they're going to be a nazir. And they're also going to pay for another Nazir's karbanos. So if they're smart, megalchen zeh, each one gives a haircut to this one, vimla, and then pays their karbanos. Vimla megalchen nazir machirim. If not, then they should do it to other nazirim. Right? So if they're smart, they
trade the shalach manis.
Oh, exactly. Very good. Right. And again in Yonat Diyot, right? They're trading shalach manis, right? Or you know what they say this for poor people that want to take off ma'aser ksafim. Right, so what they say, if you want to give ma'aser, so you take off ma'aser. Not all the person can agree to this. You could say, I give my ma'aser, I'll take off 10%. I'll give it to you. You'll take off your 10%. You give it to me. We're both aniyim, and we're happily ever after. At least when I get it to ma'aser, right? So, but that's what he's saying. The smart, but the main point is that the guy admits to it. He not admits. He says ani, and it's also on me. So let's just see a couple of lines. See, what does it mean here? Shama chaver v'amar v'ani. Let's say all he said was ani. Meaning, okay, person number one said, I'm a Nazir and I'm going to sponsor another Nazir. Person number two said, let's say he just said ani. He didn't say ani v'alai l'galeach. Then what would be? Ani akula dibura mashma, it's going on everything. It's only going on half of it. And in terms of dibura mashma, and if you say it's going on half, aresha is safe. Is it going on the first part that he's becoming a Nazir, or is it going on the second part? Or is it going on the second part that he's just paying for a Nazir? So Tashuma, Ani v'alai l'galeach, it says Ani and alai l'galeach Nazir. And but you pick him and if they're smart, they do both. So you see the Gemara Ani v'alai. Why he said a double lashon, Ani and it's on Rishmamino Bani apagli debura. The only reason why he has to keep both, becoming a Nazir and pay for another Nazir, is because he said Ani v'alai. But let's say he would have just said Ani, it just would have been half. Right? Okay, I guess it's a little too late. We'll stop over there. Tailim should have themselves a fine Shabbos and stay warm.
I mean, for you as well,
yeah.
Shabbos.
Shabbos.
A little bit cooler up here.
And my son in Fuller says it's going to be 30 below. It's going to feel like.
Yeah, he should have come to Woodburn. It's nice at 63 degrees. Yeah.
I heard if you learn Chasidus and Musar, it keeps you warm.
Not at the same time.
Shabbos.
Everyone.
Have a good Shabbos.
You said in Yon the Yoma. You said in Yon the Yoma because like the number of guys who left Mitzrayim. A bigger thing would say like the guys who stayed in Mitzrayim and died there. There's only 1/5 of the people came out.
I know that's a little.
Jack, I got a real style for you.
Yeah.
If the garbage cans blow around, can you move them back?
Okay.
Why
Have a good Shabbos.
Why good Shabbos? Why are they out?
The wind
Out
blowing them
the regular
away,
place, but they blow down the block because the wind is mama's crazy.
and then people are losing their garbage cans and they don't get them back.
You could kick them with a shina. You could kick them. Yeah, because I mean they're muksa.
I'm gonna miss you. Have a good Shabbos.
Oh, you're not gonna be for Shabbos?
I'm taking care of my father. The Jonases went to Eretz Yisrael. I'm in North Woodmere.
All right. We won't make you walk in. We won't make you walk in. It's all right.